All right. Good morning, guys. Let me get this set up. So we should be streaming live on YouTube. Let me start the recording. All right. Good morning, guys. Today is March 31st, the last day of the month. We've had an amazing trading week. As usual, we trade US 30, gold, and EU. So of course, we don't trade the first 5 minutes of market open. So we just let the market to stabilize. So just going over the trades for this past week, we are currently at, so for anybody who took any single trade that I took during the week and either exited or secured at whatever point I did mention, you should be up 2.78% for the week. So yesterday's trade, we had a win for a gold sell. Initially, we had a 0.13 return for the gold sell because I did secure at 40 pips. The whole position. And then we had an EU sell that actually came back into profit, ran. We had a take profit of 30 pips. The EU sell ran down to, so if I go back to where we took it, this was when it came back up. So the EU sell from yesterday, we entered right around where there was some consolidation right here. I think it was 90.41. We had a 30 pip stop loss and a 30 pip take profit. So after the live session ended, we definitely had a good dip in EU for this is 92, about 15 pips. Personally, I did end up closing the whole position at this point because I don't like holding trades after 11 a.m. But at this point, I did say to make sure that your trade is at break even. So if you did set break even, you would have gotten taken out a little later. But you see the price came back all the way up after market open for the next day, came back up, created a double top, and then dropped all the way down. So even if you are holding still this position without break even, so I did say this was a highly probable trade because our trade was protected by all these supply zones and the previous weekly high. So this was a highly probable trade. So even though you did hold without setting break even, your trade would have eventually hit take profit. But personally, I am a scalper and intraday trader. So depending on your strategy, you don't have to close when I say to. So still, we just need to wait for 5 minutes. So again, it's Friday. There's no need for us to risk all the profits we've made. So today, we just need to be careful. The signals we have so far, remember, personally, I don't trade signals. This is just some way to give you guys direction on how the market is going. I think you guys just saw how Steven posted like some of the entries he took. We had a buy on NAS right here. We had a sell up here. We had a buy. We had a sell right here. So this signals, so see here, we have some conflicting buy and sell signals. So this is why you also have to be, you also have to involve yourself in picking what trades to enter. But the trades, so last night I did take sells. So after Asia Open, let me see if we can go back there. Asia Open, we did have a sell for ideally everything. So we had a sell for, here it is. We had a sell for US 30, we had a sell for gold, we had a sell for NAS, all these sell signals, and they were straight up fire, right? All these sell signals, right? Like if I go back to them, I can literally point out where the market started selling right here. So we had a bunch of sell signals around here, and you could have ridden this whole trend to the downside, same as EU, right? EU, We had a bunch of sell signals starting when EU came back, took us out at break even, created a double top. We had some sell signals on the way back down. So these signals literally, even though you don't want to trade on the live session with me, remember you only need 0.5% a day to finish any phase one challenge in about 2.5 weeks. So literally, if you just wait for a signal and pick one signal that's highly probable, maybe a US 30, because like a US 30 signal, we have a 50 pip TP and stop loss. So with that, like 100K account, you only need 500 a day to pass phase one in 2.5 weeks, right? So if you, and we get like what, we get maybe 10, 15 signals a day. So if you just look for one signal, you just wait and scan until you get a signal that aligns with our confluences. And then you just enter whether it's a US 30 buy or sell, whether it's a NAS, whether it's a BTC, whether it's a EU, that you're almost confident, you're 90% sure that it's going to hit full TP, and you get 500. That's it. Wait for the next day, get a signal, make your 500. Same thing, rinse and repeat, 2.5 weeks. Only one trade a day, you're going to pass phase. I mean, this, to me, this is a no-brainer. So yesterday, upon request from club members, I did add signals for NAS. I did add signals for Bitcoin. I did add signals for US 30 on the 15-minute time frame. Now, if you notice, the 15-minute time frame signals, they have a higher take. So the 15-minute time frame signals for NAS and US 30 have a higher TP and stop loss, right? So I did say for the 15-minute signal, because you're using the 15-minute candle, the 15-minute candle can easily blow through a regular 50 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit for the 5-minute US 30 signal. So for US 30 and NAS signals on the 15-minute time frame, the take profit and stop loss is 100 pips. Now for BTC, it is the, let me see, I don't know, BTC, I did back test signals for the 5-minute, but BTC is pretty erratic. So if you guys want for the 5-minute, sure, I can do that, but depending on what you guys want. But I did see the 15-minute and 30-minute were more stable. So the BTC, let me see if we've had a BTC 30-minute. Okay, so they both have ideally the same TP and stop loss. So 50 pips TP, 50 pips take profit. I had an issue calculating pips for BTC because I know different people or different groups calculate them differently. But here, how to interpret this TP and stop loss for BTC. So for example, if you have a 50 pip, if I say the TP and stop loss is 50 pips and you get a sell signal at, I don't know, 29,000. So the stop loss would be around 29,000 if it's a sell. And you're selling at 29,000 and you're using this 50-50, your stop loss would be 29,500 and then your take profit would be 28,500. So that's how you interpret that. And I did send out that announcement yesterday. I'll just go ahead and pin this to the channel, pin message. So I did say right here, the other thing, be careful about Bitcoin signals. I mean, I don't trade Bitcoin, but I just know Bitcoin is sort of like US 30, sometimes has a mind of its own, unless you're pretty good at trading it. So I used to think that US 30 has a mind of its own, but it's become my favorite asset to trade. So definitely be careful about the Bitcoin signals more than any other signal. Of course, be careful about all signals, but especially Bitcoin. The TP and stop loss for Bitcoin is 50-50. To be compared with a $500 move, $500 move TP, $500 move stop loss in terms of monetary movement of Bitcoin. So this is not like monetary risk of your account. This is just a value, a monetary movement in the actual Bitcoin price. So that's how you interpret those TP and stop loss. Does anybody have any question regarding any of the signals that I added? Okay. I know a bunch of people took them yesterday. People have been sending me screenshots. So congrats to you guys who are learning how to use them. So let's see. Again, today it's a Friday, so we want to be careful. But it doesn't mean that we cannot trade. Recently, we've had, ideally Fridays mostly have been our best days. So as usual, what I'll do, I'll draw a trend line, a visible trend line that has shaped up during the last 2 or 3 hours before New York Open. Let's see. Also yesterday I had to upgrade the RAM on my computer, so now I don't even I don't have the latest trend lines on my MT4. So today I'll also be cautious. I'm ideally trading blind on my MT4. So US 30, let us see. Let's see what the bias. So personally, US 30 for me is US 30 for me is bullish, gold is bullish, EU is bullish. We had amazing signals for a NAS buy. I don't know if anybody, I know Steven caught it, but we had, let me see, actually I caught it on one of my accounts because I do have an account that's taking these signals. So NAS. Yeah, amazingly heavily in profit on NAS. So US 30, this is what we have. So we are bullish on US 30 price. We created a golden cross up here on the 5-minute. Price is above the 200 DMA and the 900 DMA. That means we are bullish on the hourly time frame. The chart to my right, what do we have? Price is also above the 9 EMA, so we are bullish on US 30. Do we have any bullish zones? First, let's also see what trending channel we have around here. We are in a bullish trending channel. So for any, and I need to move this weekly high here. For any sell, honestly, for any sell here, we need to wait for price to come down to the sell channel, and you can see we have an hourly bearish high, 30-minute bearish high, 30-minute and 15-minute bearish high. So we can get a sell here. It would be risky to try and use the reversal strategy today. I'll just take that off. It's going to be risky to try and use the reversal strategy today. So how do we do the reversal strategy, right? We kind of look for how, for like a trend in price, and then we wait for price to close below the 9 EMA and retest the 9 EMA and close below. The only issue, remember, today is Friday, highly manipulated day. So instead of trying to catch the reversal, we would rather wait for US 30 to come back down in this zone, which is a bearish zone, and then at that point we'll know that also US 30 is in a sell channel, and then we can look for a sell in there. Right now we can look for a buy, but unfortunately I do not have any bullish markups around me. I do not have any demand zones around where we are. For any buys, ideally it would have to be off of a trend line, but since it's Friday, I'm pretty sure people are trying to catch the reversal. So I do see US 30 continuing to the upside. So the next place we can look for a sell at US 30 is in this supply zone right here. So right now, I unfortunately do not see a trade for US 30. And again, I don't have my trend lines on my MT4. So gold, we are in a heavy sell zone. So you can see this zone is all red, right? But we've been consolidating on gold. Let's see if I take this off. I might have to open up another because I don't like when we are trading in a zone that give me 1 second. I don't like trading in a zone where we have all those shades. See, what was that? Gold. So maybe open up another gold chart. And then what we'll do on this chart, we'll just delete, we'll delete all of these zones. So now delete, what do I want to delete? Okay, I mean, mostly I just want to delete this just in this one chart. So we'll have like 2 gold charts today because that's just burning my eyes right now. So there we go. That's better. So we'll use both gold charts, but we know that we are in a heavy supply zone for gold. So here, same thing, I find a trend line. So possible hanging trend line for gold from the upside. So if I go on the 5-minute, this is a hanging trend line. On the 1 minute, I'm pretty sure this is an established trend line. There you go. From a confirmed zone to another confirmed zone. So from this higher high to this other higher high. Ideally, you want if it's a trend line to the downside, you want it coming from a higher high to a lower high, but that doesn't always happen. So we'll just use what we can see. So that's on the 1 minute. It should hold on the 5 minute. See, there we go. This is a trend to the downside from this lower low to this other lower low. So this is perfect. So let's see what we have. We have a 30-minute bearish high. But we are bullish on gold still. Today is Friday, highly manipulated day. So for gold, same thing as yesterday. Given that it's also Friday, I need to wait for this zone to be confirmed as a lower high, right? So you remember, guys, yesterday when we were, I anticipated for a sell on gold, but I said like I did not like the trend lines for gold yesterday because they weren't established. And we had to wait for the lower high to be created, and gold kept shooting up and up and up. So given that, I don't see a trade on gold. EU, at least we don't have too many supplies. But so EU, same thing. We are in a heavy supply zone right here. So let's see if we can get a trend line going. We might get a trade on EU. So I do see a amazing trend line right here on the 5 minute. Excuse me, let's see. Right here to there. Perfect. Okay, this is perfect. So if EU touches this trend line, unfortunately, we do have a golden cross coming in on the 5 minutes. So if I hide this, we do have a possible golden cross coming in. However, this trend line should hold because it's been holding about 2 times. The bias for EU right now, personally, let's see. EU is still bullish. Gold is turning to bearish. US 30 is bullish. So for EU, yeah, so this would be a valid sell. We have a trend line to the upside because this is an established area. The best thing about this sell is that it's in a supply zone within a supply zone. So just let me calculate something. So for a 20 pip move, I just want to see how far our stop loss would be. Okay, I mean, this is not too bad because our stop loss is protected by this supply zone right here, this supply zone. We have a 15-minute bearish low. We have an hourly bearish low. I would like this stop loss to be above here. So maybe today, same as yesterday, 30 pips stop loss. So keep in mind, we are still bullish on EU. However, I do see the volume dying down. And we are in heavily supply zones. The only other thing, so see how price is rejecting from or reacting from this 30-minute bullish high and low area. But for me, the supply zones overlap this bullish. No. Oh wait. Just a second. All right. That's fine. So this is a bullish high and low 30-minute, but remember, I do not trade 30-minute zones and 15-minute zones if they're by themselves. But you can see EU is literally rejecting from it. So the only issue with the sell here is that we have a golden cross coming in, which signifies continuation of a bullish momentum. Price is literally rejecting from a 30-minute bullish high and low. However, personally, I'm still in for a sell. Well, I'm not yet in, but I'm looking for a sell. So we did have this news candle that went up. So we've been in a downtrend on the hourly. This news candle closed above the 9 EMA on the hourly. This candle has come below the 9 EMA and is attempting to close above. Yeah, I would still go for a sell. So if you look at the chart to my right, the worst case that could happen here is creation of a double top, in which case our trade would hit stop loss. However, to be safer, I'm sorry, not a double top, triple top, right? Because you can see this high right here. We have equal high, ideally almost equal high. So we can create possibly a third equal high, and EU would drop again after creation of a double top. So for this trade, either use at personally, I'll use a 30 pip stop loss. If you want to survive a possible double top creation, use a 50 pip stop loss, and your stop loss would be, so literally a lot of traders out there, on average they use 50 pip stop losses, right? So for us, we use a 20 pip stop loss, so we are pretty conservative. So personally, for this sell, I will enter with a 30 pip stop loss. If I get stopped out, I'll catch the move back down when a triple top is confirmed. But I like this because we're protected by this supply zone. We are within a supply zone. We are protected by this supply zone. We're protected by this supply zone, protected by this supply zone within a supply zone, and finally protected by this hourly bearish high zone. So I see nothing but sells for EU. So this actually, you know what, this golden cross, to be honest, for me, it gets invalidated by all of these high time frame supply zones and sell zones. So I am waiting for this trade. Keep in mind, it is Friday. We can get manipulated all the way to the upside, get stopped out, and trade comes back into profit on Sunday. So make sure you're using proper risk management. So for this trade, I will risk 0.5%. 30 pip stop loss, 30 pip take profit. I'm waiting for the test of the trend line. So this is just a matter of patience, similar to yesterday, right? But for EU, there's no need for you to literally wait for the test of the trend line, because the difference is only like 1 pip. So there's no need for you to miss a move because of just avoiding 1 pip. Um, but I'm looking for a trade like yesterday. Like literally when we sold gold yesterday, it went straight into profit, but we can't always get such a good move. So EU can literally drop from this zone. Keep in mind, it's retesting the 200 DMA, and price can literally just melt down from here. So you don't have to wait for, I'm definitely looking for a sell, but I personally, I'm waiting for the retest of this trend line. So let's see. I'm also watching it on my MT4. So I will enter the sell now. So I'm in the sell, and I'll just let the trader do what he wants. 30 pips stop loss, 30 pips take profit. Again, today I'm partially trading blind because I don't have recent trend lines on my MT4, and I like having recent trend lines on my MT4. Okay. So let the trader do what he wants to do. One thing I forgot to do for EU, let me see what channel we are in on the 5-minute. Also, if you guys are new, give me 1 second and I'll go over these indicators, because I know there's a bunch of people who joined over the last 2 days. So we are in a, so if I take this off, we are in a bullish channel. So I did say we have a possible golden cross coming in. I did say EU is partially bullish, but yeah. So actually right here, if that meltdown is to happen, we are ideally catching the top. Because I do anticipate if EU breaks back down and gets into this sell trend right here, it will heavily melt to the downside. So let's see, just take that off, return this, and just let the trade play out. Whatever happens, happens. But to me, this trade makes sense. Okay, if you guys are new, we do have indicators we use here. So we have the GA Trading Club high-low plus trend indicator. We do have the GA Trading Club 3-level semaphore indicator. The semaphore indicator ideally breaks down buy or sell zones into 3. So level 3 is like high pro. So if I turn, so let me turn on the semaphore indicator. So again, today is Friday. I'm not looking to do too much. So level 3 is a highly probable buy or sell. Level 2 is a likely buy or sell. Level 1 is just a basic buy or sell. So ideally, like for the settings in here for that indicator, I do I've ideally personally filtered out. I don't want signals for level 2 alone and level 2 and 1, because by back testing, and I had this built like maybe a year ago. I've found that level 3s, anything with a level 3 is highly probable. In here, we do have a filter, so you can filter based on the super trend, based on a moving average, based on super trend plus moving average. You can have a squeeze filter. A squeeze filter ideally eliminates signals that show up in a filtered, in a squeezing area. So right here, you can see this sell and buy right here. If I put on the squeeze filter, those sell and buy disappear. I have a volatility filter. So this takes off signals in areas where there's a lot of volatility. But I don't use this indicator as much anymore because I now like my new favorite indicator, which is the GA Trading Club high-low indicator. So with this indicator, same thing. It does have, you can filter out buy and sell signals. Like right now, personally, I don't trade signals. So that's why I don't want to see buy and sell signals on my charts. There are people who want that. Well and good, you can do that. You can filter out based on ADX or volatility. So in case you don't want to see signals or buy and sell signals where there's a lot of volatility, you can turn this on. In case you don't want to get signals where price is squeezing, same thing. In case you want signals based on the super trend, based on the moving average. Uh, anyway, this is still this EMA 200. I think I have the older version, but it's fine. The only difference was that I had this coded out, so it doesn't make any difference even though you're still seeing this. So that's the one that my new favorite. If you get a signal, like if you're in the Discord and you get a buy and sell signal, right, and you don't know anything about trading, like literally, I'm assuming maybe there's somebody who literally found me and doesn't know anything about trading. So if you get a buy and sell signal here, first, know that so for example, AUD USD buy, it's in a 15-minute time frame. So that means you go to this 15-minute time frame and analyze the bias of the market. So this little feature in this indicator, you can show trend right here. And then you can see like on US30, we are within the bullish channel trend. So if you had a buy signal in here, it would make sense for you to look for a buy on US30. However, if you did have a sell signal show up on in the signals channel and you see we're in a bullish trend, maybe you should think twice about trying to look for an entry. Now, let me see that gold. Was it gold or EU we entered? Okay, so it is in drawdown slightly, and that's fine. Where was I? Okay, so for the indicators, if you guys are new, go to the pinned messages right here. And you'll see how, so I just need your trading view username. So if you go to pinned messages, so not the message I just pinned, so the other one, so just read through it and you'll see a link to a Google form. So if I open this, I just need your name, your email, and your trading view username, and I will give you access to these indicators. These indicators are only by invite only. The other thing, this indicators are on a trial period, so the free access ends on this coming week. So it ends on April 9th or April 8th, one of those 2 days. So I did say starting this group mostly was to educate, not give signals, not give indicators or anything. But so everything that I started doing for free in this group will remain free. That is free live sessions. I'm also streaming live on YouTube right now. Actually, the whole of this week, I'm also streaming live on YouTube. Taking trades on the live session, like the EU sell I just entered. Also, all these trades we've taken, or all these returns, these are returns that I've taken personally on the live session. I don't count any trades that I've taken away from the live session. So this is just to show you, even without indicators and signals, if you just take trades that I'm taking on the live session, literally this would have been, nobody paid for me to make 2.78% return for this week, right? However, these signals, they've been a game changer. Now, when I started this group, I never gave signals, I never gave any indicators. So these indicators, I had them built. The signals, I had them coded in. So I have an AI that sends that out and also filters some of them out. So for example, the trading view indicator, I had to upgrade to trading view premium and all of that. So for some of this, much more elevated trading things I'm doing, I'm definitely paying for the infrastructure. So that is the only time that you'll get that I'm charging for anything. So, but anyway, so after April 9th, the signals will be by subscription only. The access to these two indicators and future indicators will be by subscription only, and access to the other thing, I'm also able to share my markup. So for people who, for example, don't have time to do these bullish markups, this supply and demand zones, like up here, if you see, there's a way I can turn on sharing for my chart, and I can literally give you a link to my chart and you can just use it even after the live session. So those are the only things that will be by subscription only. um what else? Those are the only things that will be by subscription only. Everything else, live session, live, for me, live trading, everything will remain free. So EU is still pumping. So remember, we are anticipating this death cross. I'm sorry, this golden cross right here. So that's why I did say it's better to use a 30 pip stop loss. Now, where would you start considering cutting the trade early, right? So right here, we have another hourly bearish high, hourly bearish low in here. So if I do that, you'll see we have other heavy supply zones, right? I'll take this off because I don't want all these shadings. 30-minute bearish high, 30-minute bearish low is right here. 15-minute bearish high and 15-minute bearish low is right here. So we have nothing but sell zones up here. So I am still expecting EU to come back down. So remember, not every day we'll get a no drawdown trade. Okay, US 30. So US 30, I did say no need to even try to look for a sell even with this trend line. In any case, it's better to wait for a sell up here for US 30. So US 30, unfortunately, I don't see any buy for US 30. So if you want, and personally, I will not do it, you can take a buy on the retest of this trend line. So I do see break of the trend line, retest, but for me, I like trading with at least two confluences. So only in this zone is where I'm going to look for a sell on US 30. Now, if US 30 breaks there, you can see it will still keep going. So today is Friday. I do expect them to manipulate price. So I do expect them to go all the way up there. Unfortunately, I have no buy entry for US 30. Gold is consolidating. Let's go to the other gold chart that doesn't have too many. There you go. So remember how I told you guys, this was a hanging trend line because we only had an established hanging trend line on the 5-minute because we only had an established higher high. We were just anticipating that the lower high will be created there. So this is perfect. I like this descending trend line. We also have a descending trend line to the downside. Let's see the areas we have for gold. We do have a 30-minute bearish high here. We have a 13-minute bearish low. So if I do this, change this to red, do we have any bullish zones? No. So in any case, we have a lot of same thing as EU. We have a lot of supply or sell side liquidity to the upside. Now, if we go to the chart that has a lot of markings that are actually hurting my eye, you can see that we just have a lot of sell momentum in here. So this would be perfect entry for gold sell. Again, be careful, it's Friday. If you're already up 2%, whatever for the day, like for example, if you're up with me 2.78% for the week, no need for you to risk. So the EU trade, I'm risking 0.5%. This one, I'll also risk 0.5% as well. So for gold, the sell would be a retest of the trend line. Our stop loss is normally 50 pips. I'm not sure this is going to be enough for gold. So this is not going to be enough for gold. We need a stop loss that's somewhere above here. So maybe 100 pip stop loss. I rarely use those unless it's a filler trade, but since it's Friday, even 100 pip stop loss is still risky. I mean, it is above the 4-hour bearish low. Do I don't know how I feel about this. Um, Interesting. Let's go. So now what I would do here, I would go to the to the hourly time frame. Okay, so the hourly time frame is right here. So same thing as EU, right? So we have a possibility of a triple top. So we have a possibility. So we have this higher high, we have this higher high. Gold might come back up here. So we might be actually quote unquote safe with, let's see the structure, right? So always look at structure. So if gold breaks up here, we can go up to complete this structure all the way at 2002. Yeah, I don't think this is worth it, because to even take this trade, you'd have to take with like a 0.5 to survive all of that. Okay, so let me do something right here. To mitigate the hourly triple top, so the hourly triple top would ideally, yeah, I think 100 will do. 100 pips stop loss. So ideally a $10 stop loss for this trade. Now if gold breaks that, that will be the end of things. Okay, so for me, I'm waiting for this. I still don't like that this stop loss is below the 4-hour bearish high and low, and actually in the middle. So remember how we trade these zones. We actually haven't used this strategy in a minute. So in here we have just a bunch of strategies that we use, right? So when you have a high time frame like 4-hour, let's see, how is EU going? Okay, and that's another thing for me. When I enter a trade, I just let it play out and let the market do its thing. Where was I? Gold. I forgot my train of thought. Okay, yeah, so we have this strategy where for this higher time frame order block zones, we normally divide them into 3, right? So the top of this, I'll call it 1995. The bottom of it, I'll call it 1990. So we have a 50 pip zone. So what we also do, we divide it into 3. So ideally, no, divide it into 2, yeah. So this one would be 92.5. So what this means is that if price comes up here, what's likely to happen, of course, if we're in a sell here, if we get into a sell, we really don't want that to happen, but we can't predict the market. So what ideally we would want is, if price comes here, we want price to go this, touch that, maybe do this, and then go to the top and retrace all the way to the bottom. So if that is to actually materialize today and we enter a sell on this trend line, I don't like where our stop loss is at. So let's see if we can do this to 150 pips. I hate having such large stop loss and take profits for gold. Okay, that's perfect. I think 150 pips should be good. Yeah, 150 pips for this trade. So I'll still risk 0.5%, use 150. Given that it's also Friday, I don't want too much pressure. I don't want to end the week with like risky trades. So I will just take this trade. If we get a retest of the trend line, I will risk 0.5%. So what this means is that, so I would have still risked 0.5% even though I was using a 50 pip stop loss or take profit. But what this will do, I'll not use the same lot size. I'll just use a smaller lot size, because now I have a high take profit and high stop loss, and just risk the same amount. So I'll just prepare that on my trade manager. Let me see how I'm doing from the account that's taking signals. Oh, this is amazing, amazing, amazing. Those signals are amazing. Does anybody have any questions? Fridays, we should ideally keep them up also for questions, for giving feedback on how your trading week has been. Remember, we do not want to take a lot of risks on Friday. Does anybody have any questions or clarifications they want?
Yeah, I got a question, Michael. For drawing trend lines, I've never really drawn trend lines. So would you start? So for instance, if you're looking at a bullish trend, would it go from the lower low to the higher?
Yes,
low?
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And
And then
Ideally, when you're drawing, so what I like to do when I draw a trend line, you see, like when I drew this. So when I if I'm anticipating a downtrend, I also want to find the bottom trend line. So ideally, I want to have a channel going on. So the other way you can also know if a trend line is sort of valid. I like my trend lines being, so if it's in a descending channel or ascending channel, I like my trend line to the upside or to the upside and downside being almost equidistant. That's how I know I'm almost getting it right. But sometimes, like right here, you'll notice that you'll notice what? You'll notice that this channel right here is not equidistant. I forget the name of this. It's there's a name for such channels. But once you get used to it, you see, like when I came up, what did I draw? Was it gold or US 30? I think gold. I could automatically see a trend. No, EU, the EU trend line. So sometimes you can just zoom out, right? Like just by zooming out right here, and for me seeing this higher high, I can literally, ideally, you can use the first two, but ideally you want three, right? Three is better. 3 points of confluence are better than two. So like right here, for me, this was a no-brainer because I could literally see this trend line just subconsciously. But yeah, start with 2 points and then better yet, three. So that's why
Three.
sometimes it's better to draw these trend lines maybe after an hour or after 2 hours.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I'm starting to see because I'm trying to incorporate, or I am incorporating that into my training schedule. So like right now, I've got it written on my MT5. I've got two trend lines, and I'm noticing, when it comes to an order block and it hits that trend line with a nice wick, then it's a really nice trade. So is that kind of how you're looking at it? If it breaks outside of the trend line, then it may point a reversal. But if it comes and kind of wicks that trend line, then that's kind of within the trend and a pretty decent trade. Is that on point, or at least on point? Or?
Oh, no, no. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's the same way. I don't know if Livy is here too, because Livy, he trades, sometimes he gets into those trades, like what you just said, right? When you see that wick from the trend line, like this one, it wouldn't have been here. You wouldn't have noticed, but I can see this channel right here. And this is what I'm talking about, equidistant. But yes, you can literally, like I told you guys, for me personally, I can trade even without trading view. I can literally trade from my MT4. Yeah, so you can just be waiting for the trend line, you buy or sell, but the trend line has to be established as a trend line. So yes, that's
Gotcha.
another way to
Okay.
do it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's pretty powerful because, like I said, with the order blocks, and it's coming into that order block and it hits that trend line and it wicks out.
Mhm.
That's a really good, powerful. So, okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay. So let me get rid of this. Well, let me go. What is this? EU. Okay. So keep in mind, so I did say we had a golden cross coming. There's a reason I say to use a high stop loss for this. So look at this, right? We had this trend line, got broken, got retested, and closed above, tried to break below and close above. But I did say that we're getting a golden cross. We're coming from a demand zone. So when I say some of these things, make sure, this is why I always say use proper risk management. Like for me, I don't care about this trade. My stop loss is so high up. I have a 0.5 risk. I did know that we have a golden cross coming. I did know that price was coming from a demand zone. Again, the reason I sold EU here was because for me, this 30-minute demand zone is invalidated by all these supply bearish zones we have up here. We have a 15-minute, we have a 30-minute, we have an hourly zone, sell zone right here. So this little 30-minute demand zone, it's invalidated because I'm looking at the higher time frame, right? Like for me, I would rather go with higher time frame zones and not a lower time frame zone. This golden cross, sure, golden crosses normally show that we have a bust in liquidity. I did expect this golden cross to be propped up. Sometimes it doesn't come. You can see that probably, I think we've had instances where we see a near golden cross or death cross, and then you just have a candle that reverses and the golden cross or death cross fails to materialize. So I was aware of this risk, and I was aware that this this golden cross can materialize and push price up. But for me, I'm looking at the higher time frame. We have all this sell side liquidity. Now, not to say that this trade cannot hit stop loss, but for me, if it does, I don't care. I only lose 0.5% risk. Remember, we're already up 2.78%. Also, I know it's Friday, so that's another thing you guys need to, if you don't already have that developed within you, practice risk management. um the other thing, because it's a Friday, if anybody else has any feedback to give about trades, I think for me this week, one thing I've noticed, like an improvement I've had, is I take less trades a day. You know, there are days I used to take 5 or 8 trades and end up making 0.5%. Nowadays, I take 1 or 2 trades, I end up making 0.5%. I only trade 1.5 hours a day. And then I have another account automated to take all these signals that are coming up. um the other thing, like news events, right? Like 8:30 today, I was actually watching another channel, because I'm still, even for me, I still learn. So no man is an island. So there were people who are trying to catch the news move at 8:30. And previously I could see myself trying to catch the move with them, because sometimes I used to trade with other groups and they say buy now, sell now, and then you're stuck in drawdown. And at that point, I've probably got in with a 50 lot and it's a Friday. Maybe I'm up 6% on my challenge and I end up blowing the challenge on Friday. Like literally, I have blown a ton of challenges way back on a Friday. So for me, one improvement this week, I've noticed that I just take my time. I let the trade come to me. If the trade makes sense to me, I'm not gonna panic. If the trade fails, I know that nobody ever has 100% win rate. Even JP Morgan, even what's all those big banks. I forget the other big fund. Nobody has 100% win rate. So for me, what matters at any given day is, if I lose, I'm okay with losing a trade, so long as how did I get into that trade? Did I FOMO into that trade? If I FOMOed into that trade, I know next time, let me wait for the trade to come to me. If I win that trade, I'll still feel good. I'll be like, okay, this shows that my analysis works. So if I, for example, lose this trade, but I know for me this trade made sense, it wasn't a FOMO trade, then I'll go back and say, okay, next time, what can I do to avoid a loss, even though the trade makes sense? So maybe I'll say, watch the break of the trend line more and reassess your trade. Maybe I'll be like, oh, maybe, it just wasn't meant to happen. It was a good trade, but it didn't happen. It's a Friday also. So maybe Friday, use less risk. So that's why for me, even today, I'm just careful with the entries I'm making. So that is one improvement personally I've seen for me this week. And you guys feel free to share any improvements that you guys have had, whether it's trading with me, whether it's trading with other people, whether it's something that you've learned from me. You can just go ahead, because you don't know who you're helping out there. So feel free to unmute yourself and share any improvements you guys have had, as I wait to see if we can catch any trades.
Yeah, this is not, well, this is more so a question, because I'm kind of like where you said you were, with taking multiple trades. And like, I'm actually more than 5 trades, because what I do is, I've got the trade manager, and like once I'm up a certain amount, I'm taking partials, and then when I'm at break even, I don't like drawdown, and I know it's part of the trading game, but I automatically move my stop loss to break even. But what kind of advice can you give to someone like me, as far as staying in the trade longer? I mean, I know it's going to come, because I've only been at this for about a year, a little bit over a year now. And I know it's going to come with just trusting the system, trusting my trade setup, and then being in the business a little bit longer. But what additional advice could you give to someone like me who's taking trades, and I know I might be losing out a lot versus holding it, but I kind of make that up by taking multiple trades, and then compounding with small amounts, $100, 200. Since sometimes it's a pretty big, decent amount, but mostly, I'm just taking it off the top.
Okay. No, that's an amazing question. So okay, so there's one thing, right? So there's nothing wrong with taking a lot of trades. The it all boils down. So that's why like starting a week ago or 2 weeks ago, that's when I started. I stopped counting returns in money. I stopped counting returns in really pips. I just started counting in percentages, right? So like let's just see the wins we've had this week. One way I could say, focus on the percentage return, right? You can be taking 10, like if I show you the screenshot of the signals, like I think Audrey was showing me a screenshot of the signals he chose to take. I think there were 4 or so signals and all of them were wins, right? For heavy profits. Now, it all boils down to your risk and what is it, risk management and the return you're trying to get. So you can take, there are people who can take 10 trades and 8 trades, 8 out of 10 will be winners and they'll make 2% in a day. There are people who can only take 2 trades and they can make 10% in a day. So you need to balance. So how do you value risk, right? So actually, personally, I told you guys, I am still learning. I've learned from the gurus. We have a guru in here. Steven is a guru in here. Dean, Audrey, those are the other admins in the Discord. Personally, and you guys have seen it while I'm trading, right? So like yesterday's gold trade, what happens, what happens? Let me see if I can go back to that gold trade. I'll assume that it was this one. It probably wasn't this one, but I'll just give you guys a example of what. Let me find an example. Okay, so let's just assume that, and this is what I did like yesterday, right? So yesterday, and this is not the trade. So this is just an example. So our trades on gold, 50 pips, stop loss, 50 pip, take profit, right? So like that trade yesterday we had no drawdown on the entry we took for a sell, right? So ideally, since we have 50-50, it's a one-to-one risk to reward. So that's another thing. Learn what a risk to reward is, right? Honestly, with you guys, for the longest time, I never knew what risk to reward. Well, I knew what it was, but I did not know how to calculate it, because some of the people that I used to follow just used to say, I'm just trying to make 500 a day, right? So for me, I was like, if I do US 30 100 lots and I make 5, it just goes up into profit just for 5 pips. I'm gonna make 500 and I close out. Literally, I was passing, and we were talking with Audrey yesterday. I was passing challenges in one day just by doing that. But guess what? When I got funded, tried the same thing. Guess what? I go with 100 lot. This trade does not even go $50 in profit for me. It goes minus 1,000, minus 2,000. At that point, since I don't know what risk is, well, I know what risk is, but my mind has not been conditioned to know how to deal with risk. I keep holding, knowing that I can go up to 50 pips in profit to meet my drawdown. So I was always increasing my stop loss, and guess what, I increase it to like minus 45 pips and US 30 just spikes up. Literally my first ever funded account. I passed it phase 1, phase 2 continuously. In like phase 1, I probably passed in 2 days. Phase 2, I probably passed in 1 day. Phase 2 funded account, when I told you guys I violated drawdown by just 58 cents, I lost my first funded account just by 58 cents because I never understood risk. So yesterday, so to answer like some of the things you're dealing with, like holding on to, because as traders, one thing and that's also one thing I'm working on, right? A lot of people hold on to losers and more and close out winners early, or hold out losers longer, hold out losses longer, and close winners early. So personally, right, like if you guys saw yesterday when we were in profit, like for me, I normally say if you're 50% in profit, if your trade is 50% in profit, set break even at the very least, or secure half and set break even. For me, what did I do? Most of the times for this trade, if it comes, remember, for me, I'm just focusing on a percentage return. So I'm only looking to make 0.5% a day. So this trade for me, even though I'm risking 0.5, here on the live session, we normally get like 3 trades or two trades a day. So I know I just have to take 2 trades. I don't have to ride them to full TP, right? I just need to ride 2 trades to have TP, and I've made my 0.5%. So like yesterday, what did I do? This trade, I said set break even. right? It did not go, and this was not the trade from yesterday. But so what happened? We were like 40 pips in profit. Take profit was 50 pips, and then when the trade reached 40 pips, because we had a demand zone, I closed out my trade full position. Did not take half, did not whatever. I just closed out the full position, and then gold came back up. Could have taken us in break even, right? But on the other hand, what could have happened? Gold could have gone straight into profit, so I could have lost the extra 10 or 15 pips that I missed. So to deal with that, I'm still working on it, right? I think Dean and Steven here are very good at sticking to their risk to reward. So I know like Dean, his strategy is if you have a 1:1 risk to reward, he starts setting break even when he is at 1:1, right? So if he has a gold trade and he's risking so if his risk is 50 pips and his take profit is 150 pips, right? So Dean would start setting break even at 50 pips in profit, right? For me, I say set break even at 50% of the 50 pips. So ideally, technically, my strategy is, what is that? 1:0.5. So that means if you lose one trade, you need to win the next two trades to be break even. For a 1:1 risk to reward, which if you stick to my trades, again, I tell you guys, you don't have to follow when I get out of trades. Just use my analysis and make a decision whether you're going to hold or whether you're going to get out. But for particularly say Dean's strategy for 1:7 risk to reward, when he has 1% gain, or just he has a gain that's equal to what his loss would have been, at that point he would set break even and then let the trade ride, and then he would start securing partials, right, as the trade ride. So different people have different ways of dealing with risk to reward. So number one, definitely understand how comfortable are you. So know that if you're entering a trade, number one, always know if that trade hits stop loss, what are you going to lose? What percentage? Forget about the money. I always tell people, people like focusing. I used to focus on money. Money is not literally, money is not everything. Focus on the percentage return. So for me, like in this EU trade, I know that if this trade, and it's back in profit, if this trade were to hit stop loss, I would only lose 0.5% of my account. I'm comfortable with losing 0.5%. But if I start thinking, if this trade hits stop loss, I'm gonna lose $1,000. It's like, that kind of does something to your psyche, right? Based on the way we are conditioned, society conditions us to think monetary wise. So for me, thinking in terms of percentage actually helps you as a trader, other than thinking in terms of money. So that's
Quick
number one.
question. I'm sorry
Mhm.
to cut you off, but quick question on that topic. Like, how do you know the percentages like so quick? Do you have it written down, or are you using the FX calculator? Because like, or you just know the
Yes.
numbers?
Yes. So number one, so let me show you. So I'm ideally old school. So number one, this is one thing I had. So when I tell you I love people in this group because we share ideas. So I do have, so let me see. Let me take a screenshot and send this to the group. So I literally have sticky notes. That's number one. Um, so and these things have literally helped me. Uh, Give me 1 second. I'll post this in there. So our trade is in profit. That's what we love seeing. Let me post something, and that's a good question, right? So the way I started, how do I upload this? Okay. So for me, I'm more old school than most, but I like to adapt as things change. And that's one thing about being in this group. You have a bunch of people with, so this is what I have. You guys can see my screen. This is what I have posted on my sticky note. So number one, stick to your strategy. So what like literally when I first the first week after I posted this on my computer, I stopped FOMOing, like literally. And you guys know me. If you found me like in another channel, the EA channel, I used to trade with 100 lots, right? I still love it. I still do it personally, but I don't like showing those profits because again, I don't like people focusing on money more. That's that's one of the reasons why when I started trading, I started failing or blowing challenges, because the person I was following, he was going with 100 lots and making 1,000, 5,000. So I always wanted to do that. But so I said, stick to my strategy. Guess what? We have developed amazing strategies ever since we started streaming live. I just started this group like a month ago. We have developed amazing strategies. So one thing I noticed, I was getting into trades and then I keep holding losers, right? I keep holding and hoping that the trade will come back to me. That was a while back. But ever since I started saying stick to, so what is my strategy? I always have a set take profit and stop loss. I get into a trade. If it hits take profit, well and good. If it hits stop loss, well and good. I don't, because I used to sometimes get into trades and do not, and maybe use mental stop loss. So that is what stick to my, ever since I use this post-it, I always look at that. If I feel FOMO, I look at this Siki, and then I say, I'm going to wait for the trade to come to me. Because
That's
I mean, how
exactly
many,
what I gotta work on right now, for real.
right? Because how many times, like, for even though it's on a demo, right? And this is amazing. Like, this doesn't really happen on a live account. Wait, let me see the EU. Amazing trade. So we are testing the demand level, but I told you guys today we are probably going to be calling it Psychology Fridays. But beginning next week, like, I'll be doing hopefully weekly webinars. I'll be doing, but I'll tell you more about that. So what, how many guys have had this situation? You're on a demo, you don't care, you have no emotion, and then you get into a US 30 sell for 50, 25 lots. It goes against you by 200 pips. You're probably down $50,000 or $25,000. And then because you're like, this is a demo, I'm gonna wait for it to come back. It comes back, you close it at maybe $50 in profit. I mean, what's the value of that, right? So for me, I save more time. I'm probably going to start turning off some of this. I save more time just by finding a quality setup, waiting for price to come to me. And then instead of FOMOing in, I just enter. If it makes sense, take profit, stop loss. End of story. I don't care whether it hits stop loss, so long as the trade met my requirements. So that is what the stick to your strategy did for me. Like, literally, this has been, this little small things right here, you start doing with your psychology, it is a game changer. Number two, the risk thing. So this is like a 200K risk on a gold, on gold and US 30. So 0.5 lots or 0.5 lots on gold or 5 lots on US 30 equals with a, so this is using our TP and stop loss of 50 pips take profit, 50 pips stop loss. That is a 0.125% risk. You're only going to risk 250. Now, when I posted this in the group, my man's Dean in here, one of the admins, he posted this trade manager, what is it called? TradeSoft? InvestSoft, right? So this is, if we just look up in InvestSoft, and this is why it's good to surround yourself with amazing people, right? So Dean posted this. He said, look up Trade Manager by InvestSoft on MT4. So literally I went there, right? So I looked up, oh, what is this thing? But previously, I used to use, MT4 has a built-in not indicator tool to help you enter. Before I go to InvestSoft, let me show you guys depth of. So this is what I used to use for the longest time, but sometimes I like writing things down so that they stick to my mind. MT4. So if you right click on your MT4 chart, any MT4 chart, you'll see a depth of market. So it will be, so at the top, if you right click, you'll see sell limit or buy limit, you'll see trading, and you'll see depth of market. So when you open depth of market, this is what's gonna show up. So this is, I was just using this to enter trades with lot size and stop loss and take profit. So for example, US 30 on FTMO, I would enter maybe 10 lots here on volume, take profit. If we are using 50 take profit and 50 stop, 50 pips, I would enter 5,000 here and 5,000 here. For pairs, you just use whatever lot size you want to use. I think for pairs, it's in hundreds. So it would be, if it's 2020, you would be 200 for 20 pips, stop loss, 20 pips, take profit. So, but this is one tool. Like, if you guys don't want to use the other trade manager, but this cannot calculate risk for you. So this one, you'd have to literally write down the risk, like as I showed you guys here, and then you'd then know how many lot size should what lot sizes should I use, and what would be my take profit and stop loss. Now, Dean brought this up, right? InvestSoft. So I was like, oh wait, let me see what this is, right? InvestSoft. Again, I'm not affiliated with them. One day when we blow up and become famous, maybe they'll pay us some commission. So so I came in here, InvestSoft. I'm like, okay, what is InvestSoft? So it's a trade manager. You can input your calculate lot sizes. Let me just show you guys. It's better. Let me show you, take a screenshot of mine, because for them, they just go over some. So what trade are we in? EU. Okay, so I'll do this. Take a snapshot of this. Perfect. And then I will share screen. So stop share. And I will share screen, snipping tool, share. Okay, so you guys can see the snipping tool. So this is the trade manager. So right here, like for example, this is the EU trade I took. I was risking 0.5%. So I know on a 200K account, 0.5%, you'd be risking $1,000. So that's number one. The other one, my stop loss was 30 pips. My take profit was 30 pips. So it automatically calculates what lot size will be used. If I change this, so normally when I risk 0.5% and I have a 20 pip stop loss and 20 pip take profit, this would automatically shift to 5 lots, right? So you can calculate risk by cash amount. So the amount of money you want to risk, by the balance of your account, by risk equity, or maybe you don't want any lot calculation by risk, and then you just want to input your stop loss and lot size. The only other thing I would have, so here's one thing, right? And you have to be careful about using this is if you're going in a challenge, or if you're in a challenge, keep in mind, I wish they had a lot calculation where you could just enter the account value you want to base it off of, because if you select risk balance and you have a 200K account and risk balance, you have a 200K account and your value is maybe you're up 10K, so you have $210,000. Keep in mind that this risk percent, this cash amount, or how do I put this? The risk percent will be higher for a 210,000 than it is for a $200,000 dollar account. The issue with that is, remember, like FTMO or MFF, like FTMO, you cannot lose more than 5% of your account in a single day. But remember, it's not, I don't think it's 5% of whatever balance is in your account. I think it's normally 5% in the original account value. I don't know if they changed that, but what I mean is that if you have a 210,000, if your account value is at 210,000, ideally you cannot lose more than, the way I like to think about it, FTMO, for example, you cannot lose more than 10,000 in a 200K account. You cannot lose more than 10,000 in a day. You cannot lose more than 10,000 overall. Now, what is 5% of 200? And let's do that. But if you did 5%, 5% of 210,000, that is 10,500. So if you literally just relied on risk balance or risk equity, and your account is literally, you're heavily in profit for the month, and you just tell yourself, okay, I'm going to risk 1%, I'm going to risk 2%, and then you have like 3 back-to-back losses, or 4 back-to-back losses, depending on what you're risking. And then you keep just knowing that, oh, so long as I don't go over 5% of my account, or 5%, lose 5% of my account's value in a day, I'll be fine. Guess what? 5% of a $210,000 account is 10,500. By FTMO standard, you would lose that account because you went over the $10,000 or the 5%. So the 5% is normally based on the starting balance of whatever account you're getting. Hopefully I'm making sense. As much as I'm out here making money, sometimes I'm not good with calculating. But hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say. But that's why I always use the cash amount. So all those risk parameters I'm using, I'm basing them off of a static 200,000 account. I don't care if my account is 250,000. I don't care if my account is 260,000. This amount I'm basing off of a static amount of 200,000. Now, if here's the other thing about having your own personal live account, when you have your own funded, or not even forget about the term funded, if you have your own personal funds, if you have 100,000 in cash, well and good. If you have 200,000 in cash, well and good. But until you have your own personal live money, this is the only time I would say now start using risk balance and start using risk equity, because what you'll be doing, you'll be compounding, right? Because 5%, if you win 1% today, if you take a 1% risk trade today and you win, your account will be up 1%, right? Tomorrow, if you take another 1% risk, you'll be using the 1% risk of whatever you gained, right? So ideally, you'll be compounding. So compounding right now on a live account or a funded account, it's pretty dangerous using this risk balance and risk equity, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So right now, for you guys, as you learn, for you guys who already know how to calculate risk, because you can always lower your lot size going up. But if you're still learning risk, start with cash amount. Start with cash amount. Note down like what I've done on a sticky note. Know how much 5% loss would be on your challenge. Know what a 0.25% loss would be. Know what a 0.875% loss would be, and also associate that with a number. So for me, automatically, I know a $1,000 loss is 0.5% loss based on the strategies we use. So every time I'll just come in here, put $1,000, change maybe TP and stop loss. Hopefully that makes sense to guys.
Yeah, it does. I actually have that trade manager, and I've never been able to figure that bad boy out. But yeah, I do like 0.05 risk.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm
So
not sure.
definitely, yeah. So definitely learn. You guys learn that. Let me share this back. I think it's that. Hopefully I'm sharing the right screen. Yeah, so it's only $100 like lifetime. So if you go, again, I'm not associated with them, but this has been helpful for me. And it also allows you to close. Oh, I didn't show
I'm
you
gonna get
guys
that
everything.
today because I think that's the only thing that I don't know how to do is manage the risk right.
Yep. It also has a setting where you can set break even. So
Yeah,
if I
me
go
too. I
back,
struggle with that.
right? You can, if your trade is in profit, right? Instead of, because way back, I used to be in profit, especially during news or something, and your screen is freezing and you're up there trying to drag your little line to break even, right? But just by using this, there's let me share that again. There's a setting where you can set break even, stop share, and I see our trade is in profit. So you guys let me know when this trade is coming back up, because ideally I don't want to end the day in a loss. So if I share this thing again, so share, so you can see that it has a move stop loss to break even right here, move stop loss to break even. There's an option you can, in settings right here, you can set however percentage you want to close. So like how I normally tell you guys, when we're 50% in profit, secure half and set break even. So for me personally, I press this and then I move stop loss to break even. There's a setting in here to change this setting. So maybe if you're 50% in profit, maybe you want to secure 80%, you can change this in the settings and it will show close 80%, and then move stop loss to, you can move stop loss to break
What
even.
about a trail stop? They don't have a trail
They,
stop.
they do, no, they do have a trailing stop. I think it's in this setting right here. Let me open. Let me take another screenshot. Trailing stop. There you go. I'll take a screenshot of this. So they do have all of that. I'm still also struggling to do a trailing stop on my AI because I'm trying to secure a lot of profit. But okay, let's stop share. Stop share that. Let me share the new one. So it definitely has a trailing stop. So if I go to share screen, uh, God, where is this? Interesting. There we go. Share screen. I know it's a Friday, but there's no way I'm tripping. Yeah, but it has a. Okay, let me try this again. If I go here, use this tool, take this screenshot, and then come back here. Share screen. Oh, there we go, finally. Okay, so yeah, in the settings, there is trailing stop. I haven't played around with it, but you can see trailing stop, start trailing, step, and all of that. So there's that option in there. So you can see right now mine is off. So if you have this on, I think it will show up as an option in the live trader or in the general interface. But right now, I haven't really started using a trailing stop. Maybe I should. I know Dean uses that. So yes, it has all of that. Let me go back to the charts. I see EU is possibly being supported by a trend line to the upside. So let me stop share. I'll close this. What time is it? Okay, 10:43. So remember, we normally stop streaming live at 11. So, and today is Friday. So I want you guys to use me, ask the questions you. So I said this one is ideally just $100 for. So if we go to pricing, wait, it's not a. Is it a tool? No, it's not an indicator. So it's a tool. Trade manager. It's only $99 for lifetime, right? So it's a no-brainer. You gotta spend money to make money, and it can also draw the thing. So just go watch a video for it. They probably do a better whatever of explaining. So yeah, lifetime is $99 if you want to rent it, but for me it's a no-brainer to just pay that amount of money. So let's see, what do we have? EU. So you can see this demand zone is holding EU. Let's see how far we went into profit. 902. So we were like ideally 10 pips in profit. So not bad. I like what's happening. The only issue here, no, because I like this trend line. For me, this trend line makes more sense to the downside. Yeah, and there's no need to change the one to the top. I think this was a fake out, but just keep an eye out on that. Man, my US 30. I don't even feel bad for missing US 30 because we don't have any trade. They're literally gonna pump this up until this zone. So gold, I'm not sure it's crossing the 9 EMA, but at what time frame? Let's go to this less colored chart. So gold is coming back. You can see the volume is dying down. So honestly, even if we were to enter a sell, look at these candles, right? These candles are only moving like 20 pips or something. So yeah, does this make sense? No, when it's a Friday, you'd rather just have your Friday and enjoy your Friday. So honestly, today, I think this is the only trade we will be in. One last thing, not one last thing, but one other thing I wanted to go over with you guys. So definitely for me, always always improve your psychology. Like literally, if I tell you guys the things that I actually used to be before I started trading, or even when I used to start trading, I used to be a motivational speaker. Well, I used to just do it as for leisure. Probably some of you can tell. So that actually stems from what GA stands for, right? GA Trading Club. So GA Trading, the GNA stands for Grit and Abundance. So I do have a podcast, and I haven't put out any content for like 2.5 years because I literally put all my everything into trading. But my podcast was called gritandabundance.com. I still pay for this freaking hosting as much as it's a lot of money a year, but hopefully one day I'll go back to it. So this used to be my podcast. Let's see, maybe the site is still live. Like when I tell you guys, I built this site, I went all in, probably took out like a couple of, did 5 hours coding back to back every day for like 2 weeks to create this, keeping as much, like I do IT, but I'm not a coder, I'm not a scripter. But when I know that I want to do something in life, like I don't care if I've never done it before, like I will literally put my all into it. So I literally scripted all of this. So that is ideally what the GA Trading Club, ideally it's Grit and Abundance Trading Club. Grit just means, right, you just want to keep going. You don't take no for an answer. Like when you choose to do something, you go at it. Abundance means you want to live an abundant life. That was a motto of a high school I went to, right? They told us you want to have, it comes from also the Bible, whether you're religious, whether you're not. Personally, I'm not religious, but there is a phrase in the Bible that says you want to have life and have it in abundance. So I just put grit and abundance together. Let's see when I last released anything. So I had, wait, man, I only created one chapter, but it had like 17 episodes. I haven't gotten into this site. Oh my God. Yeah. I haven't gotten into this site for years, for probably 2 years. So maybe I'm not even hosted anymore. Oh, this is not good. Yeah. Probably my host. I don't know. That's so weird. But anyway, yeah, this is how that journey started. And then after I started trading, I just put my all into trading, and that's my little podcast room. I even bought everything for the room. Yeah, but work on your mentality every and psychology. Every day when I wake up, I just listen to something motivational. I just want to get my mind right, because even to be honest with you guys, like, we've had amazing trades. If you've been here on the live session, we get trades that have ideally zero drawdown. So even personally, when I started doing this and choosing to go live and choosing to start a community, like, you expose yourself to either becoming a meme. You can end up blowing people's accounts. I've been in such groups, and a lot of people reach out to me trying to, when they want to join this group, and say, like, yesterday, I don't know if that person is in here, they are talking about they got scammed. In this Forex game, in the trading game, you get a lot of people who are just trying to take advantage of you. So for me, based on how I've been brought up, based on how I view life, I just want to help as much as I can. I'm not up here to take advantage of people. That's why I tell you guys, I'm not up here also to make people blow their accounts. That's why I emphasize on risk management. So even for us getting proper entries, sometimes you always have that doubt every now and then. Oh, maybe tomorrow I'm gonna get a loss. What if tomorrow I get a loss? What if tomorrow I don't get a drawdown trade? What if the next 2 days we are losing the whole week, right? It doesn't happen to me anymore. So that's why another reason why I chose to start this, so that you know I'm up here, I'm just being transparent with you guys. I'm showing you guys the strategies, whether you use them, whether you just find one thing that can help you for the rest of your life. That is my goal here. And one last thing, today I told you guys it's Psychology Fridays. You can see the market is ideally dead, but we are in a winning trade. There's this thing I was listening to this morning, just one of the people I listen to is also Steve Harvey. I love his motivational talks, right? So there's this one thing he said, success isn't how far you walk. You'll be disappointed because somebody is always going to be further than you. Success isn't how far you've got to go. Success is how far you've come. Success is how far you've come from where you started. That's your success. So, right, a lot of times you want to compare, and that's again another reason why I don't post my heavy profits. Trust me, I still make those big profits. And look at our trade, because I don't want somebody, maybe they're making $50 a day, and then they see Michael making $1,000, $5,000 a day, and then guess what? The next time they're over leveraging. So this trade, go ahead and set break even. Personally, I'll just close out the entire trade at this trend line, or let it just keep going. Wait, don't tell me this happens every time. This thing is, my computer is frozen, and I literally upgraded the RAM yesterday. Give me 1 second. I'll have to log into my phone. Oh my God, this is, I was looking at my chart and wondering why it's not moving. Give me 1 second. So this trade set break even because we are 50% in profit. So stop level, another amazing trade. We've had 3 EU trades back to back winning. So maybe it's not my RAM on my computer. So right now for this trade, I'm up to 0.25% for the day. Hopefully we get another push down. Yes. So the reason why I don't post, because if somebody is making $50 and they see somebody else making 5,000, they may start over leveraging, and then they end up blowing the account. And I don't want to. I will close that trade right now. I'm good for the day. They start over leveraging, and then they possibly end up blowing their account. I don't want to be responsible for that. So base, right, there's this saying, judge your progress or your success not by who somebody is today, but by who you were yesterday. That's why for me, every single day, I just try to be better than I was yesterday. I don't care about if somebody else is making $10,000 today. Like for me, if I only, like, how many people can make $1,000 consistently, right? Day in, day out. If I'm making that, I'm ideally on the top 10% in the entire world. So literally just judge based on where you were yesterday. Forget about so and so is making 5,000 a day. So long as you're better than who you were yesterday, That is all you need. And I think today I've given you guys a free motivational speech, and hopefully a good pump up. And this is amazing, right? Just patience and patience and patience. Gold came up. I'm not looking to trade anything else today. It did not even hit the trend line. So did anybody close this or enter? This is amazing, amazing trade. Amazing, amazing trade.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I don't trade the FX pairs, but I need to look at it. I mostly trade US 30, like 900% really US 30, but I need to add in a FX pair, and I think EU is a pretty good one for a beginner. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, and EU, because EU of all pairs has the most liquidity, and it's because it's the most traded. Like personally too, I never used to trade FX pairs, to be honest. But Steven is in here. Steven is actually the one who made me start trading FX pairs, because pairs I used to trade them with EAs. But Steven, you guys have seen Steven in the group, right? He has some killer entries, right? I have no drawdown entries. Steven literally has, it's like he enters in the future, so he's always in profit. Well, not always in profit, but he's most of his trades. But so the way I found one of the trades, or one of how do I say this? The way Steven like trades the pairs, and that's what I was talking about, right? Most groups that I was in, they normally used to have like a 50 pip stop loss for pairs, right? But when Steven does his markups, like I noticed that he sometimes had a 5 pip stop loss on EU or AU or whatnot, or a 10 pip stop loss. And then I was like, wait, how is this guy able to do this? And ideally pairs, for me, based on how I know them, either they trend or they consolidate. So how is this guy able to only have a 10 pip or a 5 pip stop loss, right? And sometimes maybe he's doing 50 lots, 20 lots, I don't know, 60 lots, I don't know, right? So I challenged myself. I said the same markups I do on US 30, I'll start doing them on gold. I'll start doing them on EU. And guess what? I did because my markups, whether it's on US 30, gold, oil, whatever it is, Bitcoin, they will, they stand the test of time. So when I started doing that, I started looking at those entries. What did I do? Like when I marked this trade up for you guys, I told you guys, normally our take profit is 20 pips, right? Stop loss is 20 pips. Like even just by marking this up, this trade makes sense. Even if it wasn't a Friday, maybe we could have entered, but I don't want to risk that on Friday. But just look at how 20 pips is not a lot for an FX pair, but just look at how large of a zone this is, right? This is a pretty large zone. So because a lot of people, based on the groups that I was following, people used to have a 50 pip stop loss, have an 80 pip stop loss, right? So that's how I was conditioned to trade pairs, because I was like, yo, this thing can go all the way here. I don't have the patience to hold a trade this far. But when I started, surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me, or people who knows things that I don't already know, I was like, it is possible to even have a 10 pip stop loss on EU. It's possible to have a 5 pip stop loss on EU, right? Like if I can get a trade on EU and I can have a 5 pip stop loss, guess what? Like for example, let's just have an example, right? Let's say we identified a trade. Let's say, okay, I don't trade 15-minute bearish. This is just like an example, right? Let's just say I wanted to trade sell EU right here at this 15-minute bearish low, and my stop loss above this hourly bearish low right here, right? This is only 5 pips. Guess what? Maybe I want to risk 1% of my account, right? So maybe I go in here with 1% would be a 20 lot. Guess what? I go in here with a 20 lot. I risk 1% of a 200K account. So if this trade were to hit stop loss, actually not even 1%, this would be 40 lots. Yeah, so 1% of this trade, this is not a trade that we took, but it's just an example of how this can change your life or change your psychology of trading. So I see a potential sell here, and I say, okay, I want to go heavy on this, and I'm going to risk 1% of my account. 1% of a 200K account is $2,000. So to risk that, and using a 5 pip stop loss, I'm going to go for a 40 lot, right? Because if a 40 lot hits 5 pips stop loss, you're going to lose 2K, and 2K on a 200K account is what? 1%. So imagine I had a 40 lot here and I have a 20 pip take profit. This is $8,000. See that? Risk 2,000 to make 8,000. And you guys saw, right, Dean, the other what is it? The other admin in the group, he passed one of his challenges in one day, right? He went into an AU, I don't know if it was a sell or a buy, with a 50 lot, and he made 16 grand, right? Just in one trade. So this is the same, the way I tell you guys, and I don't think I've started that yet. Like I tell you guys, you can literally pass a challenge in just 1 or 2 trades. Like if you wait for either the weekly zones, the daily zones, or some of these zones where you just, like this trade I told you guys, for me, this was a highly probable trade because unfortunately I couldn't have gone in with a 40 lot, but it was a highly probable trade because we had all those sell zones above us. And I told you guys, these high time frame supply zones for me overlapped the golden cross on the 5-minute and overlapped the 30-minute bullish high and low. So this is just some of the ways. Maybe one of these days on the live session, I'll show you guys one of those trades and we can go in for like a 1% risk. Again, when I always tell you guys to use proper risk, just use proper risk and you'll be safe. Anyway, I don't think I'll trade anymore today. It's 11. It's near you. I'm actually happy we don't have a trade for US 30, but you can see yesterday and today we haven't had a trade on US 30. We normally trade US 30 a lot, but guess what? We've had 3 days of back-to-back wins on EU. Gold, like even gold, right? Gold is moving so slow. Ideally, even though we want to use our 50 pip take profit and 50 pip stop loss, right? It's still ranging and we did not get a retest of the trend line. So yeah, I'm not going to do anything on gold. I'm done for the week. So let me just update. So for this trade, it won. This was a 0.5% risk, right? Look at that. Ending the month, all wins this week, no loss. Have we had even one loss? Yes, we had a loss on Wednesday or Thursday during on Wednesday when we tried to catch a sell on US 30. But look at that. If you took each and every one of my trades this day, this week, you'd have been up about 3.28%. And that's just on a live session, right? You guys can trade after me, whatever, but if you just want to wait for me, right, you'd be up pretty nicely. So for me, it's just a no-brainer for you. And this is transparent, right? You guys have access to this spreadsheet. Just go into the Discord, go to track our returns. You have access to this. It opens exactly what I fill in. There you go. Closing out March. So ideally March, for those of you who've joined me since we started streaming, I think 2 weeks ago, we should be up maybe 10% at this point. So keep in mind, right? Banks, I told you guys, banks give you like a 0.06 return every year on your savings or whatnot. Maybe a 0.5, maybe a 1%. You know, here you're getting, and I did tell you I have this linked to a live account, to a personal live account of mine, like personal funds. So this is just growth, compounding this. That is all you need, right? Even sometimes, even what is it? Bonds give you on average 11% return, and that's even on the high side a year, right? That's like 1% a month. Here, you're getting 3% a week, 2% a week, maybe, even though it's 1% a week. You're doing amazing. This is all about the end game. Forget about making 10% a day if you're not there yet. Focus on small deliverables that you can achieve, and you will be amazing at trading. Does anybody have any questions, any feedback before we end the live stream?
Yeah, I have just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about the senior.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that it's possible for someone who wants to make it automatic, like to use the senior with the Telegram software and like pass a challenge with that, or
So is it, well, I don't believe in impossible. It is possible. So I have an account that's taking each and every one of these signals. Now, the one thing I'll tell you is that you need to be careful. The one thing I noticed, for example, let me see if I can see, if you have 2 back-to-back trades in the same direction, we did have some, okay, this US 30 buy on the 5-minute and on the 15-minute. Remember, if you've automated it, your Telegram copier will, and I still have a if you guys, I'm gonna probably give you guys access maybe next week. I'm still testing out some things because I don't think there's a Discord to MT4. So normally there's a Telegram to MT4 copier. So ideally, if you get these back-to-back signals, and depending on what copier you're using, you'll buy US 32 times. You'll have a better entry, a first better entry, and then another entry may be at the top. What if the second entry was at the high, right? And you're buying at the top. So I know in some of these copiers, you have like, it's called pyramiding or something. So it's to tell the copier, if I have a US 30 buy running and you get another buy signal, do not take that buy signal. So if whatever Telegram copier you'll be using, if you want to start copying these signals, just make sure if you're comfortable copying every signal, well and good. I have had a lot of success because you can also turn it off, because literally I have an account copying all these trades. And keep in mind, it took, like last night's sales were amazing. It took all these sales and I was up like on a 100K account, I was up like 2%. It took all these sales right here. It took all these sales that were all winners, all of this, right? All of them were winners. I was up like 2% on a 100K account. However, if you keep letting it run, so either way, nothing is 100%. Nothing is hands off, completely hands off. So yes, you can pass a challenge. The other way I said, forget about the signals, forget about automating signals, wait for a signal. I don't trade BTC. So for example, EU buy, so this was at 215, EU buy on the 15-minute time frame. So let's analyze a EU buy on the 15-minute time frame. So 15 minutes, if we go on the 15-minute chart, let's see how this buy could have came up. EU buy, what time did it come up at? 10:15. So this is 45 minutes ago. So this is this candle right here, right? If you got into a buy on EU here, guess what? Got burnt. Our stop loss is 20 pips. 20 pips. Wait, that I need a long position. There you go. I think it was this candle because it was 45 minutes ago. 20 pips profit. Actually, you wouldn't even have been in profit for this trade, straight into drawdown, right? That's what you don't want to do, right? So when you get into that trade, you come in, you say, does this make sense? Are you a new trader? I don't know. Maybe let's just assume we're using our strategy. So our strategies for the signals, at the very least, when you get a signal, go on to that time frame, wait for a retest of the 9 EMA on that time frame. So if you're using a copier, this entry would have been entered here. The entry would have been entered here. But if you're using your own logic, ideally waiting for the retest of the 9 EMA on that time frame, your entry would have been here. However, even using our confluences, right, this trade would have hit stop loss because the entry for this signals, if you're in front of the computer and you just want to enter on impulse, at the very least wait for the retest of the 9 EMA. Don't care about whether it closes above or below, and you can enter. Now, the other way you can do, you could have done this trade. So even using our confluences, so AI confluences both hit stop loss, right? Okay, what's the other way you can use our confluence here? You see we're in a downtrend, so use this indicator. Let's see what channel we are in. I'm pretty sure we were in a trending downtrend channel. Okay, so ideally here when the signal fired, we were in an uptrend channel. So ideally everything shows that you should have taken the buy on the 15-minute. Let's see if there's anything else that you could have used to show a buy. Okay, so you have a trend line here. Number one, this previous candle broke the trend line. The next candle, which gave you the signal, had come back down, closed above. So anyway, this trade would have made sense, whether you use the AI, whether you used our confluences, it made sense for a buy on the 15-minute time frame. However, it hit stop loss. So goes to show the signals, whether you're using your own AI to enter or Telegram copier to enter the AI signals, whether you're using the confluences to enter the signals, you're not going to win 100%. But yeah, but this, like for example, the sales from last night, they made sense. All these sales yesterday, they made sense because guess what? US 30, I remember looking at this last night. US 30, when we got the sales, US 30 was in a supply zone within a supply zone. So US 30 was in here. Yes, US 30 was in here and we had a bunch. So we had this 30-minute bearish high. We had all this zone. So when I got the sell signals, it literally made sense for me to keep entering the cells or to let the AI keep entering the cells. So yes, You can automate it from Telegram to when I do give you guys access to the Telegram, automate it, but be careful. Always, if you don't know what you're doing, always use the confluences. But even if you're going to use the confluences, know that nothing is 100% guaranteed. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it makes sense. Thank you.
Any other question? It's 11:08. Let me see. I have something in the chat. If you have anything, normally I don't look at the chat. Let me see. When you're buying or selling some, can you wait? So Cassie, if you're here, unless you asked that question, so you asked when you're buying and selling, how are you missing them? Could you let me know what you mean by that if you haven't already asked that question? Michael, think in terms of percentage. Yeah, clicked in your mind. Yep. Forget about money. Like literally forget. If you literally think when this trade hits stop loss, you're gonna lose $1,000, you will be sweating. And the other thing, that's another reason why I stopped trading on the 5-minute time frame or 1-minute time frame. Because literally, I used to trade US30 on the 1-minute time frame. And this thing, there's this one time, I always give this story. Audrey is here. There's this time I was going for a physical checkup, and I just got in, like I just got called in by the nurse, and I was in a US30 trade, and I was trading on the 1-minute, and somebody told me, you're gonna blow your account, right? And the nurse is just calling me in to take my vitals. Like when I tell you guys, she asked me, are you okay? Like, why is your blood pressure so elevated? So number one, US30, number one, I stopped trading on the 1-minute because this thing can literally, and like literally trading can give you like physical or physical conditions or diseases. Like it can give you hypertension or high blood pressure. Like literally, I even bought myself a blood pressure machine. But nowadays I am so calm at trading. I told you guys I can trade news without even caring or even having issues or thinking I'm going to blow my account, because I started thinking in terms of risk. I don't care whether it's 5,000, whether it's 1,000. For me, in my mind, I know that if I lose 0.25. I lose 1%. I lose 0.75. That is it. So yeah, nice one, Michael. Yeah, just keep thinking about the percentages. You'll be good. Cassie, if I did not already answer your question about when I'm buying and selling, how are you missing them? Just unmute yourself and ask for clarification. Otherwise, we will be ending the live stream shortly, if nobody else has a question. I need to see what's going on with this motivational thing of mine. I've been paying money for this. I'll deal with this weekend. Yeah, but next week, so beginning next week, I'll be recording. So I did promise you guys, I'll record videos of each and every one of the strategies we use, how to use the signal strategy, how to use the entry strategy, how to draw the trend lines, how to mark up the order blocks. I will be doing those, and I'm sharing them with you guys, whether it's on YouTube, but I did create a Google workspace so I can give you guys access. And beginning next week also, we'll be doing a lot of, I'll be doing a lot of content, whether it's psychology content. This is something I literally enjoy. Like when I tell you guys, this motivational thing, I started doing way back, even before I knew what trading was. But other than that, I will see you guys next week. Have an amazing week. Take time off, focus, do a lot of back testing, journal what you've learned this week, what can you improve on, and I'll see you guys Monday for another amazing trading week. Have a good weekend, guys. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.